Hi, everyone. I'm Jeannie Allen, Chair of the Nominating Committee here at Lake of the Woods. Part of our duties in the election cycle for Board of Directors is to conduct interviews with each of our candidates. Today, we're happy to have Alan McDougall with us today to share some of his thoughts and some of his desires. And so I'll start with the first question, Alan.
Terrific.
What motivated you to run for the Board of Directors?
Thank you, Jeannie. In 2010, my wonderful wife, Carol MacDougall, and I purchased our home here at Lake of the Woods. This is a wonderful community. It's vibrant, it's full of activities, extraordinary amenities, and we fell in love with it immediately. That is what I hope for going forward, that it can remain vibrant, it can be everything each and every member desires. A couple of things. And it may sound cliche, but I want to make a difference. I've spent 40 plus years of my life serving our nation. Service to our community matters every bit as much on the local or here at Lake of the Woods level. And so I want to bring my experience, my skills, my knowledge, my perspectives, and offer those to our community as an opportunity to continue to serve. I like to promote fiscally sustainable and fiscally viable budgets. I'm a pretty practical person. I believe in pragmatic solutions, identify the root problem, address and identify options for solving them, bring the data and information we need to bear, bring that to the board, and let them make decisions. Once the decision is made, it's vitally important we execute as effectively and as efficiently, be open to feedback, dialogue, and adjustments as needed. But at the end of the day, there are so many wonderful opportunities here. The challenges we do have in any community the size of Lake of the Woods, and I grew up in a small community, need to be addressed forthrightly and in order for us to get after the next priority. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Next question. What homework have you done or are you planning to do to prepare you for the role?
Great question. Thank you, Jeannie. First, let me thank the nominating committee, Jeannie, you and your fellow teammates, for putting on a wonderful candidate orientation workshop just a few weeks back. There was offered to us insight from former board members on policy, board roles, the budget process, things to expect, things perhaps you didn't expect. That was actually a vital session for me. I've spent many years here at Lake of the Woods attending committee meetings as a member, guest, attending board meetings, the annual members town hall and session. All of those have been informational, given me sense of kind of the key concerns, questions that community has, those at the board deliberations and decisions and their implications for the community. That's all informative, and certainly that's given me some level of understanding of the key issues here at the lake. But since I retired just this past January, after 40 plus years of service to our nation, really important for me to begin to use my time wisely. I joined the Rules Committee. It's given me lots of insight to deliberations on key issues for policy changes, rules and regulations, those that are responsive to members or responsive to the board's understanding of what the needs of the community are or the committees bringing them forward. That's been vital education for me. I'm very familiar, and the lake is very blessed to have governing documents that quite honestly spell out the roles, responsibilities, both at the board level, the advisory role and recommendations from committees up to the board themselves, from our articles of incorporation all the way through the documentation day in and day out. While I don't read every single board summary report, I've familiarized myself with key decisions, some of the key data in those. A lot of that is available from the President's message in the Lakeview and many other documents. I was blessed to have the opportunity to see my wife serve on what was the Clubhouse Refresh Review After Action Report. That gave me great insight, obviously through her and the other committee members, as to what the key issues were in dealing with it. That highlighted process here at the lake for me. So that should give me at least a foundation. Critical. I've been a member of numerous boards in my federal career. And that gives me clear insight as to the role and responsibilities of the board as distinct from, say, the management and staff operations, of which I've had plenty of experience as well. That's critically important if I were elected, to understand the role and responsibility of the boards and how it interacts with the staff here at the lake. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, I've been listening to other members here at the lake for a long time, whether or not that was at committee, board meetings, town halls, and the like, just my neighborhood in Section 1, and importantly, this year since I retired, I've attended all but one committee meeting in order to understand what the issues in front of them are. I've familiarized myself with all the governing documents, and that again has given me a solid foundation of the key issues of how the lake operates.
This next question is very important. What is your understanding of the board's role in governance and how it relates and interacts with the general manager?
Thank you, Jeannie. The Lake of the Woods community and its members benefit, in my view at least, from the very clear intent and the guidance that is ensconced in our governing documents. If you go back and read at least a portion of the front end of the Articles of Incorporation from 1967, it establishes the board of directors and grants explicitly the powers to the board for all decisions, to include, for example, setting policy or adjustments to policy, processes, making decisions such as our annual budget, very important to members, long-term strategic planning, and the priorities associated with them, from sustainable lakes to amenities to the health of our budgets, our reserves, and the like. The board is fundamentally responsible at the end of the day in our governing documents to act on behalf of the community and all of its members in the interest of the association under the VPOA and within and in accordance to all Virginia law and our oversight guidance. Furthermore, the board's job is to act in providing direction and guidance to the general manager, who is responsible for the day-to-day operations and executing the decisions of the board, which then would provide oversight and any feedback as needed for adjustments going forward. At the end of the day, the general manager is directly responsible in reporting to the board, the president specifically, for the planning and execution and decisions, the conduct of daily operations from staff, contracts, communications, committee interfaces, and the enforcement of our policies and regulations. In my experience, building trust, clear communication, regular engagement, and to ensure the range of perspectives from staff, the general manager, members, and of course the board itself are accounted for. It's vital that that be a healthy working relationship day in and day out. We're a small community, in some respects a small corporation with many complex issues. And at the end of the day, clear roles between the board, the general manager, the staff, and members is absolutely essential for us to be able to deal with each and every one of those key issues. There are many priorities here, many challenges, and many opportunities. As I said at the beginning of the interview, it's a vibrant community. We love it here, and my intent is to continue to sustain that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. This next question is a very interesting one. Social media has become a very powerful force in our society and here at Lake of the Woods also. What is your perspective on these platforms and how can we best leverage the opportunities they present?
Thank you, Jeannie. Social media indeed is a fundamental enabler for communication and exercising the voice of members, boards, and our community at large. We exercise that voice in many ways. In my opinion, and I'm a strong advocate for ensuring we all have the opportunity to have our voices heard. This past couple of years, I think there have been a few challenges, and perhaps in some respects communication wasn't as clear or as effective as it ought to be. That aside, social media is just one of the many, many tools. I have an enormous amount of respect for those who have the opportunity and dedicate their time as volunteers to committees, to the board, to ad hoc groups, and take advantage of a wide range of activities in which people can bring their voice to the board in order to ensure each and every decision is the right one and executed in the right way. Social media absolutely contributes to that process. There are pros and cons, but at the end of the day, in my view at least, social media provides, kind of democratizes everybody's opportunity to participate. There are many families, this is a diverse community, who for schooling, family reasons, work reasons, or other commitments that they have, can't join and participate in each and every one of the Lake of the Woods Community Association amenities or governing processes. And we need to ensure their voice is heard. So Jeannie, in so many respects, social media is exactly the kind of platform that offers that opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. What are your ideas to increase member participation, especially as it applies to voting in referendums?
Terrific. Thank you, Jeannie. That's such an important question, and quite frankly, it builds on the last discussion we had on social media. I fully recognize, and I'm sure we all do, how busy people's lives are. I mentioned schooling, work commitments. Perhaps you're taking care of a family member. And the opportunity to directly participate in the processes here at the lake may not be afforded to every single member. We must do everything that we can to reach out to members where they are, in whatever circumstance they find themselves. This is a broad, diverse, economically wide range community. I love that. And quite honestly, if it's only 10 or 15 or 20 or 30% of the participants of the membership that can daily participate or weekly participate, we need to ensure 100% of the members have the opportunity to, if they so choose, and for us to afford them every chance they can to make their voices heard. And that can be through writing letters to the board, writing letters to the Lakeview, participating in committees or ad hoc groups. Simply coming to the annual town hall is an important act of participation. This past winter at the budget town hall, just in advance of the annual budget decision process by the board, we had dozens of members who stated quite clearly they had concerns, they had questions, and they wanted the board to hear them. Many of them said this was their only opportunity to raise their voice, to bring that to the board for their consideration. I was grateful to hear those many dozens. We sat through that, my wife and I, in order to understand what their concerns are. That is a critical step in every community's opportunity to participate. At the end of the day, it's critical that the board listen. It's critical that the board provide feedback to our members. And on any deliberation of a pending policy, budgetary decision, staffing decision, contract decision that the board will be faced with, and there are many of them. And I'm so appreciative that they take the time to do that. It's also important that they see those decisions in the run-up to them as a dialogue with our community. The community simply wants to make sure that they're heard and trust that the board will make the right decision, as I do.
Thank you, Alan. This last question is broad-ranging. What do you consider the most pressing, important current issues facing Lake of the Woods, and how best to address them?
Thank you, Jeannie. There are several key issues, but as I've tried to at least thematically lay out, it's really important that the board understand the perspective of the community, and then given the responsibilities that we entrust them as the board for the association, to do the right things the right way. I mentioned at the front end of the interview that I'm a pretty practical person, that I believe it's important to set plans, it's important to execute those plans, to revisit our decisions when necessary. Conditions may change, like a contract or staffing. And that's a vital role for the board and the general manager and the staff overall to ensure is executed effectively. listening to our members. There are a number of key issues on my mind, and I'll just cite 2 or 3 of them in particular. First and foremost, I am a bit concerned that the health and sustainability of our lakes, our key infrastructure, our amenities, and quite honestly, the affordability in our budgets to ensure we can maintain those amenities in a healthy, sustainable way for the long term. This community has 60+ years now, and it is an extraordinary community. I want it to be as vibrant for future generations, like our grandchildren that Carol and I just had here at the lake, as we've enjoyed for the last 16 years. A couple of key issues. The lakes themselves have gone from extraordinarily healthy to a little less healthy, certainly in the past couple of years. I know the management and board are doing things to address that. That's essential, and it ought to be a very high priority. Amenities cost money to sustain. Like my home, every so often I have to replace the roof. We need to do the things to ensure that the amenities are in a healthy condition for the next generation. I would make it my priority that we focus on those. New projects are important, but they need to be done, in my view, with a long-term eye to the sustainability of our budgets and affordability of them to ensure that we can continue to sustain those at a level that the members expect and bring value to each and every one of those members. Governance matters. Boards make decisions and they set direction. The general manager and staff execute those, and we expect them to do so with the most effective and efficient means possible. We should constantly revisit those where there's need or opportunity for us to potentially save costs, make things more effective. Technology can do that in some cases, staffing can do that in some cases, or outsourcing in other cases. But it's critically important that we do that homework in order to, again, make sure we're making the right decisions. And then finally, and most importantly, I have been concerned about costs rising. We all experience inflation in our homes. But I do think it's reasonable that the board and members have a dialogue to ensure that we're not exceeding inflation unless it is truly warranted. Some costs can't be controlled simply by contracts or putting in a budget number. We've got to be attentive to that, and it's vitally important that we communicate transparently and accountably to our members who elect the board to ensure that they're bringing that value to bear. So those are 3 or 4 key issues that I believe the next board and future boards will have to deal with, and I'm eager to get after some of those. Let me say a couple of things in closing. I may be one of the lesser known candidates because I just retired in January and have just gotten much more active here in the Lake community. We love this community, and quite honestly, this is where we intend to live out our retired lives. I'm a very practical person, and I can make a difference, so I seek your vote.
Thank you, Alan. The nominating committee has prepared a little bonus question for all of the candidates.
A surprise.
Please give us your 30-second elevator speech as to why we should vote for you.
Thank you, Jeannie. I think it's a pretty simple formula for me. I care about communities. The community we lived in for 40 years in Centerville, Virginia, and commuted down here on weekends, was a wonderful community. We raised our 2 sons there, and they had a wonderful time. A very diverse economically, very diverse ethnically community, and that was a rich opportunity for them to grow in. We, Carol and I, see Lake of the Woods as our retirement community. This is where we want to be. It's where we have friends. It's where we enjoy the amenities, share in our community activities, and it's exactly where we want to be going forward. I only ask that you consider me for the board this year because I'd like to bring my care, my dedication, my commitment to bringing practical solutions, and at the end of the day, my experience to bear on the board. I think I can contribute. I don't need to win every decision. I want to make sure that the voices of our members are heard loud and clear because they matter. They matter the most. This community is vibrant. It has a great future, and I want to be a part of contributing to it. Thank you.